If you are color grading without using scopes, you are basically color grading blind. Your monitor lies, your eyes get tired, but scopes tell the truth every single time. In the next few minutes, I will show you how to use DaVinci Resolve scopes like a pro so your grades look accurate on any screen. Scopes gives you objective data about color, contrast and exposure. They help you make corrections confidently regardless of your monitor or your environment. This simply means that even if you don't have a proper calibrated monitor or screen, there is a 90% chance that you have a better grade at the end of the day using your scopes in DaVinci Resolve. Without wasting much of our time, I'm going to explain the scopes that we have in DaVinci Resolve. So I'll be using this footage for a detailed illustration. I shot this footage with a Blackmagic Pocket 6K. I shot this on RAW, but I've converted this from RAW to Rec 709. This was the before and here is the after. So if you want a detailed video on how to convert your footage from RAW to Rec 709, just check out this video over here. I've made a detailed illustration and a practical explanation on how to convert your RAW footage to Rec 709 in DaVinci Resolve, or you can check the description below. I've dropped the link over there. So back to this video. Just like I said, I'll be using this footage as illustration while explaining the scopes that we have in DaVinci Resolve and how it can help you. So now looking at our footage here and our vector scope, you'll notice that we have a particular line, a white line over here, and we have a white looking stuff at the center of the circle here. Now this white line you are seeing here is called the skin tone line, and this white stuff over here helps us to know if our footage is properly white balanced or not. Now looking at our footage and the vector scope, we'll notice that this footage is almost properly white balanced because the white stuff is at the center of the circle facing the skin tone line directly. Now in a situation where the white stuff is not at the center of the circle and facing the skin tone line, maybe let's say somewhere here, if you check closely, as I made this adjustment, you notice a change on the footage. You'll see that the hue on our footage has changed, thereby letting you know that there is a color cast, which is not making our footage to be properly white balanced. It's not looking properly white balanced, isn't it? So now to make sure your footage is properly white balanced, all you have to do is make an adjustment using your offset in your primary wheels. Make your adjustments with the offset and make sure this white stuff is at the center of the circle and facing the skin tone line directly. Now let's make the adjustments and see if our footage will look better than as it is looking now. Now move this little dot on your offset and pay attention to your vector scope. Now we have the white stuff at the center of the circle and facing the skin tone line directly. Now when you look at the footage, you will notice that it is looking more better than before, meaning that it is actually more white balanced now than before. So if you make a better adjustment to this, you have a properly white balanced footage. Let's increase the saturation of our footage and see how it is going to be represented on our vector scope. I just increase the saturation of our footage. You will notice that as I increase it, the whitish stuff at the center of the circle appear to increase at the same time with the value of the saturation, meaning that with the vector scope you can actually identify the level of your footage saturation. Now the key point is that your saturation level is not supposed to exceed this point. Anything above this point is likely to be oversaturated. Likewise other colors. Now looking at this footage, you will notice that we have a little bit of blue and red. Now to increase the saturation of these two colors separately, you have to head over to the color slice tool and now increase the blue by dragging this slider upwards this way, and you will see that the blue indicator on our vector scope is increasing as I'm dragging the slider upwards, and if I'm dragging the slider downwards it is decreasing, meaning that you can actually monitor the saturation of different colors using your vector scope. Now let's check the red and see if it's going to happen the same way. I'm dragging the red upwards this way. You'll notice that the red indicator on the vector scope is also showing us that our red is becoming oversaturated. And if you look on our footage, you will notice that the red on our footage is also becoming oversaturated. When you reduce it by dragging this slider down, you will see that the indicator on the vector scope is actually reducing. The parallel scope is used in balancing the image color. It is usually very good in removing color cast and ensuring an even brightness across an image. Let's assume we have a particular color cast on this image and we want to remove that color cast and make our footage balanced. I'm going to add a color cast right now. Now, looking at this footage, you will see that it's not looking nice at all because of the greenish look on it. So for us to balance this image right now and make it look better, we have to use our periscope and adjust the red and blue and make sure our red and blue is at the same level with our green. Now let's leave the red. Okay. Now our red is almost at the same point with our green. Now let's leave the blue. Now, looking at your footage, you will see that it is now looking much better and more balanced than before. And you can also use the periscope to make sure that you have an even brightness across your footage. If you look very well on our periscope, you notice that the red scope over here is actually higher than the blue and the green, showing that the brightness level of the red color is actually higher than the brightness level of the green and the blue color. So for us to match these colors together, we have to head over to the primary adjustment, which we are already, and go to the log wheels. The log wheels is meant for adjusting the luminance level of colors. Whenever you want to adjust the luminance level of your colors in DaVinci Resolve, you make use of the log wheels. The shadow is actually the darkest part of our image, which is this point below here, and the mid-tone is actually the middle point on our scopes over here. The highlight is the brightest part of our image, which is the top right part of our scope over here. We have to reduce the highlight level of the red or increase the highlight level of the blue and the green. Now head over to your highlight and either increase the green this way and also that of the blue. Just drag and increase, keep increasing. The waveform is actually a scope that shows us the luminance level of our image from black to white, meaning that you can use the waveform to know if your image is too dark or too bright. Now this is very essential for matching different shots from different cameras. We have the highest part and the lowest part on this waveform. The highest part on this waveform is the highlight, and the lowest part on this waveform is the shadow. That is, the shadow is the blacks and the highlight is the white. Now if we want to adjust the brightest part of this image, we have to increase the gain, which is the highlight. If we also adjust the lift, which is the blacks, the darkest part of the image is lifting off from the lowest part of the scope, showing that the darkest part of our image is actually becoming bright. To have a properly balanced image, your blacks should not crush on this line over here. It should be a little bit above this line. Somewhere around here is perfect. And your highlight is not supposed to clip over here. It should be somewhat lower than that line a little bit. Something around here. Something around here is pretty much better. So with your waveform, you can actually monitor your image luminance when it comes to the blacks and the white. Now, this is the last scope we'll be discussing for today, and this is the histogram. The histogram is actually a quick snapshot scope. The histogram helps us to see the spread of the shadow, the highlights, and the midtones on our image. These three color channels helps us to detect the spread of shadow, highlight, and midtones. Now, if you drag the lift, the red channels are heading towards the highlight area, showing that we are tampering with the blacks of this footage, thereby losing contrast on our image. And now if we reduce the lift, we will see that we are beginning to reduce the highlights on our footage, meaning that we'll have more contrast on this footage. My name is Rocklight. I bring DaVinci Resolve tutorials every week. See you on a different one.